I know, I can hardly contain it. International fashion illustrator and author Megan Hess is at the top of her game right now, having worked alongside major fashion houses like Prada and Dior, collaborated with the likes of Michelle Obama, and written and illustrated 3 best-selling books. She's become a staple on the international style scene, and she's now in South Africa to celebrate the release of 2 new original works. She joins us this morning to talk through her inspired career and what we can expect in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we do a warm Expresso welcome for the one, the only Megan Hess, everybody!
Wow, what an intro, thank you.
Welcome. We don't hold back here. No. We don't hold back.
I like it.
What is it like being in Cape Town? I know you've had a very short stint here, but it's so wonderful to have you in our beautiful country.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to be here. I have actually wanted to get to South Africa for as long as I can remember. So finally, I'm here, and it's a quick trip, unfortunately, but it's been incredible. What I've seen, even in the short amount of time, has just blown me away. So now I'm just like planning, where will I come back to? Where can I go for a holiday here? Everything.
Well, we have a lot to offer. We really do. But your career has been so amazing. I mean, you've catapulted right to the top, but it hasn't always been an easy road for you. What is maybe one of those standout moments, if there were any, that you felt really just was that moment that catapulted you to success from really, you know, those beginning foundation stages?
Well, I mean, I always wanted to be a fashion illustrator, but it's one of those paths that's really hard to work out. How do I get to do that? It's not a typical career. So I was essentially struggling as an illustrator, and then my big break came when Candace Bushnell, who wrote Sex and the City, discovered, thank God for Candace, discovered my work and asked me to illustrate the cover of Sex and the City. And that one project just, it was released globally, and that's when I really just, all my work took off. So I literally went from illustrating kind of soul-destroying projects to working with Chanel and Dior and Tiffany & Co. and just like my dream clients. So I thank my lucky stars that she found me and that project happened.
That is so awesome.
And Sex and the City, no less.
Yeah.
Am I a Carrie or am I Miranda?
Oh,
I'm a Carrie.
You're definitely a Carrie.
Everybody wants to be a Carrie.
Someone's got to be Miranda.
Miranda all the time.
Sorry,
what about
she's smart.
Samantha?
I have a lot of Samantha in me, but we won't go there. It's a morning show.
So we're not gonna go there
We'll
yet.
find out about that later.
Yes, but talk fashion illustration because it's such a niche art form. I know quite a few fashion illustrators who either had a passion for illustration first and then the fashion came later, or vice versa. How are you able to sort of marry the two together, and did one come first for you before the other?
I mean, I think well, for myself, I love fashion, always have, and I've always loved drawing it. And I always say to people, I can draw anything, I can't make it. And I think that was the thing. The technical side of it was something that I think I wanted to stay in the imaginary world of fashion illustration, where, I don't necessarily know how a dress would tie up at the back. I just want to kind of illustrate it and illustrate that imaginary world that goes with fashion illustration. So I think you have to love fashion to illustrate it.
Yes, I would imagine as well.
Well, talking about fashion, fashion it's always changing, and we can't have you here and not talk about those iconic moments in fashion. Let's see how fashion has kind of changed through the ages, and maybe do you have any all-time favorite fashion moments?
I mean, I think there's a lot of fashion moments, and one of my books is called The Dress, and it's about 100 moments. And in that book, I really looked at moments that really stood out, everything from iconic moments within film to, Princess Diana's wedding dress, Diana Ross when she first did her first video clip. And I think, some dresses were destined for greatness and they were expensive 100%. And had a million embellishments, and other dresses were just something that someone threw on and it became an overnight sensation that we still talk about. So. I think there's a lot of iconic dresses for different reasons.
Stunning.
Your work is absolutely beautiful. I mean, just looking at some of these illustrations and seeing the types of people or brands you've worked for, Saint Laurent, Dior, Chanel, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. But I hear you're also an accomplished author. You've written quite a few books in the past. And also you're celebrating the release of 2 new original works. So tell us a bit about that.
So, I mean, I think it was about 7 years ago that I started working on fashion books. So my first book was Fashion House, and all of my books have been based around fashion. And then my latest book is a children's book, which is...
The mouse.
Yes.
Tell us about that mouse. What's that mouse going to?
Well, it's funny because, you know...
Beautiful.
Yeah, she... you know, I've always worked in luxury fashion, but I've always wanted to do a children's book. And I really felt like there was room for a character that was, you know, something that really connected with children, but also was fun for adults or parents to read at night, that had something in it there too. So she's Clarisse, the chicest mouse in Paris, and
so cute.
you know, she wears little couture outfits and she has little Dior handbags, and you know,
Best mouse in the world.
She is.
her
Where do I get
wardrobe
one
is
of them?
enviable.
Living her best
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
And then your Italian book, I believe, you having the Masters of Italy, iconic.
Exactly. So then this is my latest fashion book, and this will come out in November. So this is actually my first interview about this book.
Wow.
It's called Iconic, The Masters of Italian Fashion, and it's just really a celebration of Valentino, Dolce & Gabbana, Versace, Armani, all the really iconic Italian designers. And I've just really showcased over the years just some key looks that really show the DNA of that designer and why they're so iconic.
Love it,
Doesn't
love
get
it,
better
love
than
it,
that.
love it. I tell you, Megan, having you here just gives me the feels. It really, really, really does.
That's good.
Fortunately, she's not going anywhere. Why? Because insight from one of the world's most renowned fashion illustrators is what we've just gotten, and we will continue to get. Our thanks to Megan Hess. And of course, if you feel inspired and want even more, then we've hooked you up. Don't worry. All you have to do is tune in to Toppling next Saturday, September the 29th at 6 p.m. The repeat being Sunday at noon, as of course Megan partakes in an iconic tour of beautiful Cape Town. It is the best of the good life, only on SABC3, where that fashionable stage is yours.